Hey everyone! If you're planning to register a medical device in Hong Kong, then there's one thing that can either speed up your approval or completely destroy your timeline. And that is your technical documentation. Now, honestly, most companies think we already have CE documents, we already have FDA clearance, we can reuse our global file. But when they actually prepare for Medical Device Administrative Control System, MDACS, they realize something painful. Technical documentation is not just paperwork. It is the foundation of your approval. And here's the reality. Most delays in Hong Kong registration happen because files are incomplete, information is inconsistent, risk analysis is weak, labeling is non-compliant, clinical evidence is insufficient, documents contradict each other. Result? Endless authority queries, delayed approvals, distributor frustration, lost tenders, lost market opportunities. And in some cases, companies spend more fixing documentation problems than they would have spent preparing properly from the beginning. So in this complete guide, we'll cover everything. What technical documentation really means, why Hong Kong reviews it carefully, full step-by-step documentation preparation process, essential documents required, clinical evidence expectations, labeling requirements, risk management documentation, software documentation, timeline, cost breakdown, common mistakes with real examples, how to reduce queries and speed up approval. And trust me, if you're planning Hong Kong registration in 2026, this video could save you months of delays, thousands in rework costs, and major regulatory stress. Let's begin. Part 1. Why technical documentation is so important. What is technical documentation? Technical documentation is the complete evidence package that proves your device is safe, your device performs as intended, risks are controlled, manufacturing is properly managed, users can use the device safely. In simple words, your technical file tells the entire story of your device. Why Hong Kong reviews technical files carefully? Even though Hong Kong's MDACS system is considered voluntary, authorities still expect high-quality evidence, international compliance alignment, consistency, patient safety focus. And remember, Hong Kong buyers, hospitals, and distributors often trust products more when documentation is strong. Biggest industry problem. Many manufacturers think, if CE or FDA already approved us, Hong Kong will automatically accept everything. Wrong. Hong Kong may still evaluate labeling suitability, intended use clarity, risk documentation, local compliance suitability. Real example. A manufacturer reused old EU documentation for Hong Kong. Problem? Intended use statements were inconsistent. Labeling didn't match IFU. Risk analysis missed local usage considerations. Result? Multiple authority queries, 5+ month delay, distributor frustration. Key lesson. Technical documentation is not a copy-paste exercise. Part 2. Step-by-step technical documentation process. Step 1. Device classification confirmation. Before building technical files, confirm device classification correctly. In Hong Kong, classification impacts documentation depth, clinical evidence expectations, risk analysis requirements. Common mistake. Using incorrect classification assumptions from EU, MDR, FDA, China, without evaluating Hong Kong expectations. Result? Missing documentation, wrong submission strategy. Step 2. Define intended use clearly. This is one of the most important sections. Intended use should clearly explain what the device does, who uses it, patient population, clinical purpose, operating environment. Huge mistake. Companies write marketing-style claims instead of regulatory intended use. Example: bad wording. Revolutionary, life-changing monitoring technology. Good wording: device intended for continuous monitoring of adult patient vital parameters in clinical environments. Regulatory clarity matters more than marketing language. Step 3. Prepare device description. Authorities must fully understand device design, components, materials, accessories, functional principles. Include product overview, variants/models, technical specifications, images/diagrams, operating principles. Common problem: incomplete device descriptions create confusion. Result: additional clarification requests. Step 4. Risk management documentation. This section is critical, usually aligned with International Organization for Standardization, required risk documentation, hazard identification, risk analysis, risk evaluation, risk control measures, residual risk assessment. Biggest mistake: generic risk files copied from templates. Authorities can often detect weak risk analysis, missing device-specific risks. Real example: a software medical device submission ignored cybersecurity risks. Result: authority queries, delayed approval. Key lesson: your risk analysis must match the real device. Step 5. Clinical evidence preparation. Higher-risk devices especially require clinical evaluation, literature review, clinical performance evidence, clinical documentation. May include clinical evaluation report, CER, published literature, clinical studies, post-market clinical data. Common mistake: using unrelated literature. Result: weak clinical justification. Example: device intended for pediatric use supported only by adult clinical data. Problem: population mismatch. Step 6. Labeling and IFU review. This area creates many delays. Labeling includes device label, packaging label, symbols, warnings, UDI information if applicable. IFU must include instructions, contraindications, precautions, maintenance, operating instructions. Biggest mistake: mismatch between label IFU, intended use, marketing claims. Result: compliance concerns. Real example: marketing brochure claimed home use device. IFU described hospital-only operation. Result: authority clarification request. Step 7. Software documentation if applicable. For software devices, software architecture, cybersecurity controls, validation reports, version control may be required. Major industry problem: companies underestimate software documentation, especially for AI devices, SAMD, connected devices. Step 8. Quality management documents. Usually includes ISO 13485 certificate, manufacturing controls, supplier controls. Why important? Authorities want assurance that manufacturing is controlled consistently. Part 3. Complete document checklist. Core technical documents. Device information. Device description. Technical specifications. Intended use. Product variants. Risk documentation. Risk management report. Hazard analysis. Risk-benefit analysis. Clinical documentation. Clinical evaluation report. literature review, clinical evidence summary, labeling documents, device label, packaging artwork, IFU, manufacturing and quality, ISO 13485, manufacturing information, supplier controls, verification and validation, performance testing, biocompatibility, electrical safety, MC reports, sterilization validation, software documentation validation, cybersecurity architecture documents, common missing documents, expired certificates, missing signatures, unclear test reports, incomplete IFU. Part 4. Timeline. Realistic technical documentation timeline. Low-risk devices, 1 to 3 months preparation. Medium/high-risk devices, 3 to 9 months preparation. Complex devices, 6 to 12 plus months possible. What causes delays? Missing test reports, weak clinical evidence, poor risk files, inconsistent labeling. Key insight: most delays begin before submission. Part 5. Cost breakdown. Technical documentation costs. Risk management, $2,000 to $15,000 plus. Clinical evaluation, $5,000 to $50,000 plus. Testing costs may include biocompatibility, MC, electrical safety, software validation. Regulatory consulting depends on complexity. Translation and localization, additional cost may apply. Hidden costs, rework, repeat testing, delayed market launch, lost distributors. Real example: company skipped professional technical review to save money. Later, multiple queries, retesting, 8+ month delay, final losses became much higher. Key lesson: poor documentation is one of the most expensive regulatory mistakes. Part 6. Biggest mistakes to avoid. Mistake 1. Copy-paste documentation. Result: inconsistencies. Mistake 2. Weak intended use. Result: confusion about device scope. Mistake 3. Generic risk analysis. Result: authority concerns. Mistake 4. Poor clinical evidence. Result: weak safety justification. Mistake 5. Labeling inconsistencies. Result: queries. Mistake 6. Ignoring software validation. Result: cybersecurity concerns. Mistake 7. Waiting until submission to organize documents. Result: chaos, delays. Key insight: strong technical documentation reduces both regulatory risk and commercial risk. Part 7. Smart strategy for fast approvals. Best practices. Build technical documentation early. Maintain consistency across all documents. Use device-specific risk analysis. Strengthen clinical evidence. Conduct internal audits before submission. Use experienced regulatory experts. One important sentence: the quality of your technical documentation often determines the speed of your approval. Planning medical device registration in Hong Kong? Don't let weak technical files, poor risk analysis, incomplete clinical evidence, labeling inconsistencies delay your market entry. Why choose OMC Medical? Expert technical documentation support. Hong Kong MDACS specialists. Risk management expertise. Clinical documentation guidance. Faster, smoother regulatory pathways. Whether you're preparing your first technical file or fixing a delayed submission, talk to OMC Medical experts today. If this video helped you understand Hong Kong technical documentation requirements clearly, Follow OMC Medical for more deep regulatory insights, global medical device strategies, and compliance guidance. See you in the next video.